Hey everyone, Mark Hespin here. Time for the post-Week 13 NFL Power Rankings, as we like to do here on a Wednesday. You can like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, what you're watching on now, at Mark Hespin. Also, that's on Twitter/X and Instagram, at Mark Hespin. You can follow me there as well. Appreciate always the likes, the follows, the shares. Follow the show on the Mark KHMO on Facebook, or just tune in every Saturday morning. The News Talk 1070 KHMO, the KHMO app. Broadcasting live and local here in Quincy, talking everything and anything in the world of sports. Obviously, during football season, the hardcore focus on football. We're going to go through the power rankings here. This is a power rankings that is unlike any other. I haven't had some teams in here in the power rankings ever, or some teams in a really long time. And both the teams that are in the power rankings, I had to put them in. It pains me. It hurts. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. But it's what I felt like is right. I am a journalist. I am fair and balanced. I am trying to put my objective hat on, so I battle through it. So we'll get into that. Also, I want to quickly at the end of the video talk about why I think it's now officially time to put a ton of pressure on Lamar Jackson. So we'll talk about that. Let's get started. Number 10, power rankings post-Week 13 in the NFL. The Buffalo Bills back into the power rankings at number 10. Listen, the Bills are just kind of benefiting from the fact that everyone else around them in the AFC is falling apart. And the Bills, right now, their season's still completely in front of them. 6-6. They have a chance to get to 10 wins and to still absolutely make a playoff run here. It absolutely needs to start, though, for the Bills this week. A win against the Chiefs would fix everything. We'd be talking about the Bills like it was like nothing had ever gone wrong with the Bills. A win this week could just change the dynamic. Think about a win for Buffalo and a loss for Kansas City would do for them, especially Kansas City just coming off the loss. Think about how quickly the narratives can change in the NFL. So I'm going to put the Bills at 10, tentatively. They have a healthy quarterback, and so that's pretty much makes you a playoff team in the AFC right now. At number 9, I hate to do it, but they deserve to be in, and they're at number 9, and they scare me, and I hate them, the Green Bay Packers. What can you say about Green Bay? Really impressive win Sunday night at home against the Chiefs. Now, listen, I think the Chiefs are struggling. They themselves aren't up to par right now, but all the pressure was on the Packers to come out and perform well, and they did. Their line of scrimmage of both the offensive line, defensive line is very, very good. Those weapons that Jordan Love has are young and developing. And let's be honest, like I've been saying it all year with Jordan Love, if you've been listening to the show, to me, he's young Dak Prescott. He reminds me so much of Dak Prescott. He is mobile. From within 30 yards, anything that's not a total deep ball, he's really accurate. He can move well in the pocket. Decisive thrower, fairly accurate thrower. I feel like just overall limited. Like he's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. We know that. But Jordan Love, if you could beat Dak Prescott, as we know, you can win a lot of games and you can keep your team very, very much alive if you play football the way Dak Prescott does. Packers are at number 9. Speaking of Dak Prescott, I know. Cowboys, what can I do? They have to be in. The rest of the NFL is falling apart. I blame the rest of the NFL for why the Cowboys are in the power rankings. Let's be honest. Let me be honest about the Cowboys, because I haven't talked about them in a long time. They haven't been in the power rankings since week 5. One of the main reasons they haven't been in the power rankings is they still just haven't played anyone. They have beaten no one of consequence. And so for the Cowboys, though, at this point in time, though, I have to give them credit for absolutely beating up on the bad teams. They're not just winning the games they're supposed to win. They are decisively winning the games they're supposed to. And Dak has looked really, really good. This is the best we've seen Dak Prescott since his rookie year. Like, the best we've seen Dak Prescott. He looks healthy. He looks confident. It seems like the wide receivers and the weapons are all just gelling right now. Cowboys number 8. But again, for them, they could go tumbling out of the power rankings in just a couple days, depending on what happens against the Eagles. If they can beat the Eagles, though, they can really put the pressure on people like me who've been doubters of the Cowboys all season long. Texans at number 7. I know they lost Tank Dell, and that stinks because he's a really fun player to watch, rookie, and him and C.J. Stroud are really developing some chemistry. But this Texans team is still for real because C.J. Stroud is for real right now. I don't know what C.J. Stroud will be like in 2, 3, 4 years from now. But right now, he is playing top 10 quarterback. He's playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and it's really fun to watch. It reminds me so much of Andrew Luck, where this kid just comes in with his head on straight to an organization that is just a little shaky. And what does he do? He shows up and he absolutely balls out, and you just can't phase him. What will the Tank Dell injury do? We'll have to wait and see in the long term. Will it affect Houston of actually making the playoffs? Right now, they feel like a playoff team again in the AFC because they have a healthy quarterback, and the AFC is just devoid of healthy quarterbacks right now. Dolphins at 6. The 5 and 6 spot are the teams I'm so close to having them in that Super Bowl bubble, but they're just on the outside. The Dolphins, again, to me, feel so much like the Cowboys. Gosh, you like so much about their weapons. You like so much about their defensive stars. You like what their head coach is doing, the culture. All of these things are good. It's just they haven't beaten anyone of consequence. They got blown out by the Bills, and the Bills, as we've seen, have had a really up and down year. So Miami's got some cupcakes still here in the next couple weeks, and then they end the season with Baltimore and Buffalo. So everything's in front of Miami still to be marching towards the 1 seed and then have 2 giant games to prove the haters like me wrong in the final weeks of the season. But I still like the Dolphins a lot. Just again, their ceiling doesn't feel Super Bowl level to me. Lions at 5. The Lions defense is starting to feel like a defense that can't win a Super Bowl. Now, the offense absolutely can. And I think the offense is what's going to keep the Lions in any sort of battle that they play against Dallas, against San Francisco, and against Philly. They're the 4 best teams in the NFC right now, and it's not even close. The AFC, it's a mishmash and a lot of who's healthy, who's not. But the Lions absolutely, to me, are the 3rd best team in the NFC. They have a chance to run the table here and earn themselves maybe a 1 seed, definitely a 2 seed possible, and the Lions hosting a home playoff game will be electric. Their offense can keep scoring. They'll survive. If the defense can just get some stops, it's going to rely on that defensive line getting healthy and making sure they keep the pressure on to help the back end of that defense for the Lions to make a Super Bowl run. Chiefs at 4. They fall a couple slots to number 4 spot. Listen, I was shocked they lost this game. Losing to the Eagles at home, no shame in that. Going on the road to a Packers team that is in a rebuilding year with a young quarterback that has played up and down football year, and you put out that kind of effort where nothing looks like it's all clicking, that's a concern for the Kansas City Chiefs for sure. I'm not panicking yet, but I think put yourself in the minds of a Chiefs fan if you're not a Chiefs fan, right? In 10 years from now, you're going to be looking back on this Chiefs dynasty. This will be one of those years you'll really kick yourself for not winning if it's because you didn't make a Super Bowl because Mahomes didn't have one deep threat weapon. Like the AFC is falling apart right now, right? And in the NFC, you might just have to face Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl. We've already seen what Mahomes can do to facing Jimmy G in the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Can they solve all their problems here down the stretch? I keep waiting for them to. It hasn't feel like they can figure it out yet. They just need to feed Kelsey, ride Pacheco, and then hopefully pop 1 or 2 big pass plays a game. If those guys can get open, they got to scheme those guys open. Nagy and Andy Reid have their work cut out for them. Ravens at number 3. Nothing not to like about the Ravens. I could argue the Ravens should be higher. I'm just still more impressed by the Eagles and the Niners. Ravens at 3. Love the Ravens. They are the favorites in the AFC right now. We'll talk a little bit more about them coming on up to wrap up this quick little episode. Eagles at number 2. No shame in losing to the Niners at home. A little bit of shame in getting blown out by the Niners at home. That was a disappointing effort. I was very high on the Eagles going into it. As you know, I picked the Eagles. So I was pretty shocked at what happened. I'll say this, though. The fan in me of like the conspiracy theorist of how the NFL works is kind of like, I think this is a good thing. I think they're going to come out and play really inspired football against the Cowboys. I think they're going to put on a hurting on the Cowboys, kind of regain and stabilize everything. And then they'll have all the momentum as kind of the underdogs against the Niners the next time they play them in the NFC Championship game. Not writing off the Eagles yet. But the Eagles would be in a world of trouble if they lose to Dallas this week. So got to right the ship, get back on the win column, and just kind of steady the waters around the Eagles. Niners at number 1, nothing else to say. I mean, they put a hurting on, in my opinion, the best team in football at their building. This Niners team, when all healthy, is what, 9-0 on the season. The 3-game losing skid was when Williams was out, Debo was out. And so right now, if the Niners can stay healthy, there's no one I think that could stop them from rolling their way to a Super Bowl. Kittle, McCaffrey, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, they're just extremely impressive on the offensive side of the football. I don't want to hear any talk about Brock Purdy being the MVP. That is insane. That is absolute insanity. In a year where there's no quarterback who's really earning the MVP, to me, Tyreek Hill is the obvious choice for MVP right now, especially if the Dolphins can get the 1 seed. Finally, wrapping on up, I just want to say this. It's time to put the pressure on Lamar Jackson. Look at what's happened in the AFC. No Burrow. Lawrence is now going to maybe miss 2-3 weeks. They're going to fall off, probably still win their division, but maybe even be a wild card team and not cohesive going into the playoffs. Mahomes doesn't have a deep threat, and they're reeling right now. They're probably not going to host the AFC Championship game for the first time in the Mahomes era. You have Josh Allen, who may not make the playoffs. There was no Deshaun Watson, no Aaron Rodgers. The AFC is completely fallen apart. Justin Herbert's team is imploded. There's no excuses. Like, it's a now or never for Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. He has got to find a way to put the Superman cape on and get his team to a Super Bowl. This is the year, because next year, Mahomes isn't going to be without weapons for long. Allen's not going to be down for long. Burrow will be back healthy. Rodgers will be back. I think they're going to get a brand new coach in LA for the Chargers. All of these things are to come back. The Broncos are finally putting it together. Deshaun Watson will be back. All of these things are going to come running back to the AFC. This is the year for Lamar. The pressure is on for the Ravens. Ravens fans, I know you shouldn't think Super Bowl or bust, but Lamar Jackson, you got to at least make a Super Bowl this year. This is your opening. It's a crack. The AFC's falling apart. The pressure is on Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, because you may not get this kind of opportunity again. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, X, at Mark Hespen, MarkHespen. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mark Hespen, here on YouTube. Follow the show on the Mark, KHMO, on Facebook. And as always, tune in Saturday mornings, News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app on the Mark, broadcasting live and local here in Quincy, Illinois. We'll see you next week.